What's good, everybody? It's another episode of the Hoof Live. The Bills are 4-0. I don't know how much processed juice you guys been drinking, but the processed juice has been flowing. It's been flowing, y'all. It's been flowing. So those of you who don't know, I'm Sterling. I'm your host. We have our co-host here, Anthony Romeo, up top. He's on the right-hand side. And you got the man, the myth, the legend, which is Eric Brown on the bottom with his little 4-0 graphic behind him. How you guys doing today, man?
Feeling it, baby. Still living with the 4-0. Got to enjoy every minute of it right now.
I got nothing to complain about. Just saying, this show is so much harder when your team is really good.
Yeah, it is. You know what? Because we don't have much to complain about, much to bitch about. So you kind of just, hey, I guess you got to, we don't know what winning feels like. I mean, it's been so long since we've been a part of a winning team. You know, usually we would come in here and we have all kinds of stuff to say. You remember those days, Eric?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But anyway, welcome.
We could still criticize this team, though. We could still criticize this team. We still got things to talk about. You know, we're clearly not at our peak level yet. You know, there's still things to improve on, and we'll get there. For sure.
There's always things to complain about in life that you can always find things to be not happy with. But absolutely, we're definitely going to have some criticisms for this team tonight. But without further ado, guys, we are welcome to Cover One. Again, this is our new platform. We are the Hoof Podcast, the Hoof Live, and we're here to give you the goods. We're giving the goods. So before we even get into all this, you know, we got to do our shout outs, man. We got some people up in here. Gordon, what's up, man? He says, what's up, my dudes? Gordon, we just chilling over here, man. We just chilling. Oh, let's talk 716. He says, hey, Sterling and Anthony, Robbie. What's up? 4-0. That's Robbie, huh?
4-0.
Yeah, that's dope. We got Clinton. Clinton person, thank you for watching the show. I don't know if this is your first time. This is the first time I've seen you in here. So what's up, man?
Welcome,
and Jason, go Bills. So anyway, we got a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. We're definitely going to talk about this rapid, awesome 4-0 start by these Buffalo Bills for sure. But for those of you who don't know, we kind of have a structure and a flow here with this show where we kind of we have segments that we like to go through, and we kind of keep it moving that way. But for those of you who are new, feel free to like and subscribe. Hoof that like. You know, we get it's not about a monetary thing for us. It's about influence. It's about you guys liking what you see. If you guys hear or see anything that you want us to improve on and want us to talk about, by all means, we are available. You see our Twitter handles there. But without further ado, man, can we get this thing going?
Let's go.
Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, I always ask you guys if you're ready, you know, and sometimes I catch you off guard. So for those of you who don't know, this show topics I come up with, our guys, they don't see them, and then we just kind of get them on the fly here. So first things first, shall we, fellas? Here we go. What's popping? What's popping is latest and the greatest around the league, around the NFL. So we just like to tiptoe on a few things that we find and deem noteworthy. What's going on? So that's our what's popping segment. So first, here we go. Texans fire Bill O'Brien. Okay. Now, this guy should have been fired a long damn time ago, right? Just from the trades alone. I've never been a fan of head coaches who are GMs. To me, it just never really works. I mean, I think, you know, those are two hats that you need to wear by different people. What are you guys' thoughts on Bill O'Brien getting the axe today?
Well, I think it's a little premature, to be honest. I mean, it's week 4 right now. How long has he been a GM? How long has he had full control?
A season or
two. Too long.
But listen, this guy has a winning record as a coach. He's been in the playoffs 4 of his 6 seasons with Houston. He's won the division 4 times, and he didn't always have a good quarterback, right? He got to the playoffs with Osweiler. I think he's a hell of a head coach, and I think, you know, maybe the time ran out with Houston, got a little raw. Maybe it's not a good fit anymore. There's new ownership there, but he will land on his feet. I think this guy can really coach football.
The problem is, you know, it's much like a lot of people would say coaches' decisions to draft a quarterback. You're attached to that quarterback, and how that quarterback does comes down on you, right? And that makes you either a good coach or a bad coach, period. Well, in this case, it was his GM move that screwed him in this case. He deserved to be fired for getting rid of Hopkins and for a bag of beans. They got nothing for him. He's still a superstar in this league. And he insisted as the GM, our team's going to be just fine. We're not going to skip a beat. We're going to be just fine without Hopkins there. We're going to be better, in fact. And now look at them. They can't win a game. They're 0-4. So when you start like that after making such a bold, ridiculous move, you deserve to be fired, period. I don't care if you won the Super Bowl the year before. You did that. You made that stupid decision. You're fired, period. You're 0-4. You're fired. And honestly, I think it's an ego thing with him. I never liked the idea of being a GM and a coach either, because to me, that's just you have a big head. And I get it. Like Bill Belichick. Okay. Yeah. He's allowed to do stuff like that.
Exactly. But can we touch on that comment? Because in RC3 makes it good. He says GM head coach is way too much of a workload for anyone, which it is. And Bill Belichick's drafting and some of his free agent acquisitions, they're not that good. They are not that good. So Bill Belichick himself, I mean, when you have an all-world quarterback in Tom Brady, it is a lot easier to mask different things on your offense and defense. Whether, Bill O'Brien doesn't have the luxury of a Tom Brady. Now, Deshaun Watson is pretty good in his own right, but he kind of shot himself in the foot with some of the transactions he's made. He's not a people person. You have to adapt and kind of, learn how to grow with the new generation. And I don't think, players talk about he's not really connected. You can go far as back and looking back what happened with DeAndre Hopkins and how that situation played out. So, hey, to each his own. He got the axe. We'll see where Bill O'Brien's next spot is. I think he is a good coach, though. Here we go. Ron Beck. And we got a super chat from Ron Beck.
Chat.
What's
Here we
up?
go.
And those of you who are in the chat, super chats get discussed. They are priority. So Ron Beck, man, thank you for watching the show. Thank you for your support. 2020 MVP Josh Allen. Go Bills. Welcome aboard at Cover One. And for those, we are at Cover One. It was just a different and better opportunity we felt for us. There's no shame, no foul, no harm with Fanatics. We're all still cool and everything. So we just moved over to a different platform. But we are loving Cover One. We have a lot of room to fly. But let's go back to the super chat comment. Anthony, I'm gonna let you handle this one here with the Josh Allen MVP talk, man.
2020 MVP talk. I mean, this was a conversation that we had in the preseason this year, right? We talked about, is Josh Allen going to take that next step? A lot of people thought he would take the next step, but we also discussed, is he going to be an MVP candidate? And I absolutely was on that train from the beginning, because I believed that we had to start putting the offense on his shoulders. When you bring in a guy like Stefon Diggs, when you have the weapons that we do on offense, he has to take that move. And we've seen it from Josh Allen before. He's the guy on the field. He's the reason we win games, right? So he was already that guy last year. Now he had more weapons. We expected his stats to all improve. I said that he would be at least in the MVP conversation. And right now, without a doubt, he's got to be. Russell Wilson, maybe, Aaron Rodgers, and Josh Allen. And there's no question there that Josh Allen has probably had the most impact with 2 game-winning drives now, with the way he's put the team on his shoulders, with every touchdown but one now coming from the shoulders of Josh Allen. I mean, he's in the conversation, and he will be throughout the rest of this season. Unless something insane happens, he's staying right where he is at the top of that conversation.
Yeah, it is so fun to watch. It is so incredibly fun to watch a Bills quarterback be in the MVP conversation for real. Being in the same conversation as a Russell Wilson or a Pat Mahomes, it's like a dream come true, honestly, for me. I always liked Josh Allen, always believed in him, and now you're seeing the results on the field. I mean, there's just no better feeling, especially when your team's 4-0. We got the primetime games this season. We just need the fans. And I don't know. Josh has got to win some big games now. We got Monday night games. They're going to be playoff, situations. There's a 1 seed that the Bills have to get if you're a real Super Bowl contender. I think if Josh can get the Bills that 1 seed in the AFC, he will be the MVP.
Absolutely. And we'll talk more about Josh Allen as we continue in the show, because obviously he's always the hottest topic, right? But the next topic for you guys, if you're ready, Dallas can't find answers. What is wrong with the Dallas Cowboys? Now, to give you a little bit of season history of this year. You got Dak leads the NFL in passing yards. Ezekiel Elliott, you know how everybody says, feed Zeke. Oh, my God, feed Zeke. 3.9 yards a carry. That's not great. The Cowboys are 1-3 this year. They've lost to the Rams 2017. They beat the Falcons of all teams. And we're seeing that the Falcons are all offense, but they have nothing else. And then they lost to Seattle 38-31. Seattle's a good team. And they lost to Cleveland 40-38. I'm not too sure about what the Browns are yet. I don't think they're great. They could slip into the playoffs. Who knows? But that could be something else. But these Dallas Cowboys they're 22nd in pass defense. They're 31st in run defense, and they're giving up 4.9 yards a carry. You know, people going in thought Mike McCarthy was going to be the answer. I know it's still early in the season, but tell me what's wrong with these Cowboys and where is the answer if they can find any answers? Because right now, Jerry Jones has to be pulling out what little hair he has because he's over like, excellent. He's like Mr. Burns, right? Excellent. What's going on with the Cowboys? Anthony, go ahead.
I think obviously the problem is their defense. They can't stop anything right now. They cannot stop anything. They're giving up like 45 points a game on average. That's insane. I don't know how they're going to fix that. It's not like they're missing some huge key piece on that defense either. I mean, obviously they lost a couple of their defensive players from last season coming into this season. And, you know, they didn't get the preseason like everybody, and defenses around the league are struggling in general. But this is abysmal. Like, that's got to be the worst points per average or up there in the league. I don't know how many, if there's many above, but still, that's abysmally bad. And the offense has had no choice but to be that good to try and keep them in these games. And they did get lucky in that Atlanta Falcons crazy onside kick game.
For sure.
But a win is a win. So the question you asked again was, how do they fix it? They score more points. That's the only way they can fix it. And I don't know if that's possible. Again, they're scoring 40 points a game, and losing close calls, 40, 50 points a game. That's insane. That's a tough measure to align to keep up with. I'm not sure they can at this moment.
Hold on. Hey, people in the chat are already clowning. Ween says Anthony looks like Paul Scheer in a wig. That is hilarious. I had to throw that in there, Anthony, because you have such a large
first. That's the first time we've heard that one.
Right. I had to just throw it in there, Anthony. But
that's a new one. That's a new one.
That's a new one. But Eric, what do you think about the Cowboys, man?
I think we're going to keep that one moving forward too. But anyway,
we're going to have to.
I think it's like you said, bad defense. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. But I think you have a mediocre quarterback. I think Dak deserves to start in the league, but I don't think he's going to be a top-tier quarterback. I think a lot of his yards are in garbage time. Is that not a top 5 receiving core in the entire league?
Absolutely. CeeDee Lamb's balling. CeeDee Lamb is a dude.
You know, Dak he just doesn't have it. To me, it's like he's more like Matt Stafford. Like, got all the talent in the world, got the leadership skills, but when it comes down to crunch time, he doesn't get it done. And, huge stat for you for why they suck. -7 turnover ratio for the Cowboys. And that's really the issue.
Wow.
That's the difference in the games they've played so far. They have had a tough schedule. But hear this, the next 4 games for them, home against the Giants, home against the Cardinals, at Washington, and at Philly. So this division will be decided in the next 4 games.
The division will be decided. And Kevin Cook says, do you think no preseason hurts defenses overall? I think it does. I think it does have an impact just because, that rhythm, that timing. I think not having fans in the stadium, I think that's a big contributor to why these defenses are having issues where, in the past, fans and the stadium noise and so forth will give offenses a hard time of trying to communicate their switches on offense and stuff like that. So I think all those things play a factor, right? But still, I mean, there's Pittsburgh and there's the Colts. Those are the teams playing good defenses, but you look at their schedules, you go, okay, you really haven't played anybody, right? So I think it's the defense. The defense is what's holding the Cowboys back. When you got a quarterback, whether Dak is average or above average, even what you want to call him, they're still putting up points, and it's up to the defense. I mean, you're giving up over 30 points a game. That is atrocious, and that's not okay. That's not okay at all when you have DeMarcus Lawrence on that defensive line. I mean, you can name the studs on that defense, that they have. You think, and with Zeke in the run game, you think that they will be doing a much better job of sustaining these leads and not giving up so many points. But, hey, it ain't our problem. right? It's Dallas, and I hate Dallas, really. I don't like Dallas as a ball club, what they did to us in the 90s. I still hold bitterness towards all that. So F the Cowboys. I'm glad that they're losing. I just love Stephen A. Smith is the best when he trolls the Cowboys, dude. Anytime the Cowboys lose, that dude is all up on them. And they did cut Brandon Carr, so that should help. Taylor DeGeorge just mentioned that. I'm giving credit for that. But yeah, I did see that earlier today. Brandon Carr is not a good cornerback, but he's not he is not the only problem.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot.
Galore.
They've got a lot of issues on that defense. They were giving up points everywhere. And what they have rushing, like 280 yards rushing in the first half, I think. It was insane.
The Browns ate them up.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham ran a 49-yard touchdown. It's like Odell Beckham's a wide receiver. Like, why is he catching the reverse and taking it to the house? I don't know.
Yeah, it was definitely an ugly game for that defense. And the NFC East in general is just abysmal. I mean, they're all terrible teams, and none of them deserve to make the playoffs. But somebody's got to win that division. It might be with a losing record.
I still think it's Philly, honestly.
Well, we're going to talk about
early, but I think the Cowboys are definitely in the conversation, even with a bad record.
For sure, they are in the conversation. That again, you guys mentioned it. That division is abysmal. It's terrible. But who's going to emerge from the NFC? I was, because we hear a lot about in the national media. A lot of their focus is on the AFC. They talk about the Bills. They talk about the Chiefs. They talk about who else in the AFC? Oh, the Ravens.
Yeah.
They talk about those guys a lot. So I was thinking, the NFC. Who is gonna, if the Bills or whoever emerges from the AFC, we're hoping it's the Bills. We'll see. It's still early in the season, but in your guys' opinion, who's some of the teams that could emerge from the NFC that are gonna have some clout moving forward in the season and into the postseason? Because we got Seattle 4-0, right? Yeah. We got Green Bay, they're 4-0. Tampa's 3-1. Anthony, I know you hate Tampa. The Rams are 3-1, and the Saints are 2-2. And I think once they get their star receiver back, I think they'll be a lot better. So, what do you guys thought on that?
The Bears are 3-1.
Yeah,
I don't even include the Bears. They don't have a quarterback. They don't even have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll take this first. I believed in Green Bay the whole season. They were my Super Bowl pick out of the NFC, and they looked the part. Aaron Rodgers looks motivated. He looks renewed. I think they're outside of Baltimore. Green Bay is the most balanced team in the entire NFL. I think they're the team to beat in the NFC. I don't think it's Seattle. I think Green Bay's better.
Yeah, I mean, I think Seattle's up there, but their defense is so porous that, I'm excited when the Bills play them because I think we're going to put up a hell of a lot of points on them. But my preseason pick is who I'm sticking with, and that's the New Orleans Saints. And like Sterling said, they're without their star wide receiver, and they should be getting him back within a week or two here. And that's going to change everything for them. And they're still 2-2. And, Drew Brees is going to hit his stride when it matters most this year, I feel. And the Saints are still a dangerous team. And I do agree the Packers are there. Seattle's there. Those are probably the three teams right now that I would go with. But I don't think Seattle is set up to win in close games with tough opponents at this point.
Well, Seattle's banged up. They got guys on defense that are hurting. They need to get better. But somebody brings up, and this is Crease B. Ooh. He says Vikings can salvage their season. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Kirk Cousins. Well, I think you talk about average quarterback, Eric. Kirk Cousins is the best backup quarterback in the league, right? I mean, he just is. He's the best backup quarterback in the league. Kirk Cousins doesn't win big games, right? He's just there. He can put up stats sometimes, most times, but he's just kind of like Dak.
Wow.
They don't do enough. They don't do enough.
You don't like
win a playoff game.
You don't like that.
He did win a playoff game last season.
You like that? That's what he said. You like that? It's like, shut your ass up, man.
Yeah, they look lost to me when I watch them. Wow. Their offensive line look out of sync. They just want to beat up Dalvin Cook, and that'll work for you for a while.
Right.
But they just look lost to me. I don't know if they can figure it out.
Minnesota was my pick to win the division in the preseason, and I don't want to count them out of anything at this point because you just said it. They've got Cook. They've got Adam Thielen. They've got Jefferson, the rookie, who's had back-to-back 100-yard games. This team can score points, and their defense, much like a lot of the defenses around the league, is struggling a little bit. But I think they're going to catch up, and they're going to hang in there in these tough games. When they play teams like Green Bay, like they did already once and lost, they could probably beat them the second time around. And when they play teams, their division rivals, Detroit and Chicago, they're capable of winning those games. And that's what matters in the end. It might not be a pretty record. It might be 8-8 or 9-7, but it still could be good enough to get them in the playoffs where they're going to be a threat against any team. So I wouldn't count Minnesota.
I think they can make the playoffs in the AFC, but they're in the NFC. There's the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Bucks, the Saints. There's just too many good teams. I think the other teams I just mentioned are going to all make the playoffs. There is a 7 seed this year, but I just think that's going to go to one of these really good teams. And let's not forget about the NFC team that gets in.
I got to bring this up.
NFC East team that gets in.
Greg, this is hilarious. Kirk Cousins is the new Andy Dalton. I mean, he ain't lying. No lies detected here. Kirk Cousins is Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton, I mean, obviously they're NFL players, so they excel at what they do. But in NFL terms, you're average. You're average to below average, and they paid this guy a lot of money. Andy Dalton has an excuse because no one's paying him that kind of money. But Kirk Cousins gets contract after contract, and it's huge. And with that contract and that amount of money, there needs to be, some more wins. I think you got to play better with that. So, here's some insult to injury. Vikings woes should show how important Diggs was to them. You dig? Hey, you're right. Yeah, you dig? You're right. Because Stefon Diggs, we're going to talk about him later in the show. They're missing him. I mean, that big playability. Adam Thielen's good, but he doesn't present that big playability like Stefon Diggs does. And it shows big time because our quarterback's benefiting from it. All right, so moving right along. Okay, so fellas, this is the Inside Slant. This is where we talk about what's going on with the Buffalo Bills, latest, greatest of the week. So Inside Slant. So we're going to kick it off with, I got one for you guys. Here we go. Bills Titans seem like a go. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Now, this is came out earlier today. This is the second day where the Titans have had 0 positive tests for COVID. So based on that, I don't know if there's a 5 or 7 day wait I think it's a 5-day wait from that point when you have the second day, consecutive days without having a positive test. It looks like it's a go on Sunday. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, Eric? Definitely glad that we're going to be able to play the game. That's going to be huge. I mean, hopefully it seems like the NFL is saying that we can't move this game. You're going to have to play it regardless of what you got. It's going to be interesting to see who's available for that game because they have some pretty big name guys on the defense, especially that are out if they're currently on the COVID list. And I'm not sure exactly what the rule is, but they definitely have to have 2 negative tests. And I think it's 5 days without symptoms and 2 negative tests. But I don't know if the 5th day is Saturday and that counts as one of their days of negative tests and then they get a negative test Sunday. Can they play? I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that all works out this week. Obviously, those guys are not at practice. They're not going to be able to be at the facility. The facility's reopened today, I think, or maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
So at least those guys will get the ones who are healthy will get their practice reps in. But it's going to be interesting. This sets the precedent for the NFL moving forward.
I think the biggest question is, are the players who tested positive going to be able to play? Because you're talking about the turnover of an entire side of a team. I mean, 10 players is a lot. I think it was 8 to 10. I'm not sure exactly what the number got up to, but that's huge. That's huge for a football team mid-season when games count. This Tennessee team's still undefeated, right? And I think there's going to be rain, right? There's a hurricane going up through Tennessee. So it's going to be physical. It's going to be a physical football game. And if the Tennessee is down even, let's say, 5 players, that's going to be killer for them.
Did you say hurricane in Tennessee? Because I grew up there. We never really ever had a damn hurricane in Tennessee.
I just saw a hurricane. I think it's actually going to break up. I'm not a weatherman.
Hey,
try.
We get rainstorms. I mean, hurricane. I ain't never seen it in Tennessee.
Well, the hurricane's going to break up over Tennessee. How's that sound?
That's a lot better.
Okay, all right.
I feel you on that, weatherman.
Thunderstorm.
Thunderstorm, yes. They do get thunderstorms.
All right.
But check this out. So Chase Lennon says the facility is reopened, but they're still going to be missing 10 players. Looks like a W. Now, on paper, you could say, okay, the way the Bills been playing, they've had a tougher schedule than the Titans so far. The Titans beat the Broncos 16-14. They beat the Jaguars 30-30. They beat the Vikings 31-30. So, but they can put up points. Kevin Byard's still one of the best safeties in the league. They do have, I think, Justice Simmons. They're a good team. They're defensively, they're really good. And Kurt, what is that dude's name? Tannehill. Shit. Tannehill, he's played so much better since he's been with the Titans. He's still average. I mean, he's been playing a lot better than what we all thought Tannehill was, right? But they do have some big playability. And Derrick Henry is still the running back. So it's going to be a tough game for the Bills. I don't think it's an easy W. You know, it is an away game. I think, the Titans are having fans in the stadium. To what capacity, I don't know. But I did look at tickets. I was like, I'm going to see if I could try to go. But nah, it ain't going to happen, man. It's too late, and the tickets are too expensive to get down to Tennessee. So.
Well, we know what that offense runs through, literally runs, right? So it's Derrick Henry. He's the guy on that offense. He's the star. He's the one they're going to get the ball to, and he's the one you got to watch for big plays. But let's not count out some of their other players they have around him, right? We already talked about Tannehill, who the Bills have had his number in the past, but the last couple times we played Tennessee, he was not the quarterback. But they still got A.J. Brown, although he's questionable for this game. Corey Davis, they got Jonnu Smith at tight end. So they have guys who are decent and can make big plays. So our defense is going to have to be on its toes against this team, especially looking the way they have recently, trying to figure out if it's going to be a run or a pass, right? That's going to be, you have to be able to make that read, because if Derrick Henry catches you dropping back in coverage thinking it's a pass, I mean, he's going to get 15 yards up the middle. So it's going to get ugly. And
I think the key to the game for the Bills is this is not the same Tennessee offensive line that was there last season, right? Jack Conklin goes over to Cleveland, and they got Isaiah Wilson, Dennis Kelly, Ty Sombrello. I mean, that's not Jack Conklin. There's a huge hole on that side, I think. Derrick Henry will definitely help, but I think there is some turnover there. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know if they've been really challenged as much. The Bills are a really good team, so it's going to be a huge challenge for Tennessee. And that defensive line is starting to hit their groove, in my opinion. But let's not forget about Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah,
he's on this team as well. And I know Jeffrey Simmons was on the COVID list, but if he's playing, he is starting to break out. I think he's going to be a star in the league.
Yeah.
Okay.
So their defense
Simmons is dope. Simmons is dope.
Yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney is great in run defense. As a pass rush, they don't really have one. They only got 4 sacks on the season. They really don't have a pass rush. But they're solid. They're a solid defense. They're coached really well. Mike Vrabel is a really good coach. Mm-hmm. I know he plays New England really tough. I haven't seen that kind of translate to other teams. Now, they haven't seen a high-powered offense from Josh Allen. They haven't seen that part yet. So I think that's going to be alarming to them. I mean, if the Jags are putting up 30 points and the Vikings, Kirk Cousins putting up 30 points, I think they're going to have a hard time against Stefon Diggs and these guys. So I think the Bills, it's a game the Bills can win for sure. I mean, if you would have looked at the schedule and thought the Bills going in could be 5-0, I would take that in a heartbeat, because I didn't really think the Bills were going to, finish September 4-0, right? It just didn't look, I was like, damn, I didn't know they were this good, but they are this good, and it's crazy. It's just crazy to see.
When we talked in the preseason, this was the first game that I was afraid of for multiple reasons. One, Tennessee is still a really good team. Remember, this team was in the AFC championship game, so they're still really, really good. They still have a lot of players, consistency. They got better on defense by adding a guy like Jadeveon Clowney. But also, this is a focusing game for the Bills. You're 4-0, and you might be looking ahead to Thursday night against Kansas City, and you don't want to do that, right? You got to focus on this game, and McDermott's pretty good about keeping the guys focused. But if they start looking ahead, you can't overlook this Tennessee team, and that's why even in the preseason I said the first game of the year that scares me is the Tennessee Titans, because that defense is good, and they're going to be anticipating that Thursday night
and
huge
the Titans
matchup against Kansas City.
The Titans are mad at the Bills. Let's not forget last season. Bills won 14-7, but the Tennessee Titans had like 5 missed field goals, a couple boneheaded plays by their quarterback, Mariota. Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't forget. It doesn't go away, right? So, I mean, Mike Vrabel is definitely going to remember that game, and they're going to want some revenge. They have a little extra time to prepare.
For sure, that helps. That definitely helps.
Has an impact.
Okay, so before we continue on, man, we only have 1 like on Facebook. It looks like that's not okay, because we're giving like, subscribe, This is the Hoof, man. Hoof that like, bro. Like, why are y'all doing me like this? I mean, what's going on, man? I know the Sabres are in the draft right now, and people are pissed about their pick. You got LeBron. They're gonna win the series. Are we even? I mean, come on now. And I think the Yankees might be playing tonight. So look, like, subscribe, Hoof that like, man. We are here tonight. So on our next topic, fellas, I'm gonna bring this up. Stefon Diggs, man. Woo. Stefon Diggs is the co-leader in receiving yards for the 2020 season after 4 games. When was the last time we've had a Bills wide receiver that was leading the league in anything other than drops?
Okay, you took mine.
Drops.
Right? Right. So the fact that, I mean, Stefon Diggs, that 49-yard catch that Elam threw, I mean, he just straight up mossed that young fella. I mean, it was just a gorgeous thing, man. And having a wide receiver like that, one of the things I loved is how Josh Allen went to him early and often to establish the pass game. Like, he was like, you know what, I'm hitting it. And he seems to do that in the 4 games that he's played. He seems to kind of want to hit Diggs early, kind of get him going. And I love that they're in rhythm, and that's kind of their thing. But Stefon, man, let's talk about how big of an impact Stefon Diggs is having, not only on this offense, but on this team. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think he's definitely a competitor, right? So he feels that fire, and the fire was already going, and Diggs is really getting this offense over the top. He gives Josh Allen confidence early, right? Because how many times last season did we see Josh come out cold early?
Right.
It doesn't seem to be the case anymore, and I think Diggs does play a part in that. It's all those hours they put in on Call of Duty in the offseason. It pays
Is
off.
it really Call of Duty?
Yeah,
we're giving it Call of Duty. Oh, this is hilarious. Kelvin Benjamin.
Wait, who?
Mr. Popeyes himself.
Well, the biggest thing with Stefon Diggs is that Allen knows that he can rely on him, right? Even if he's one-on-one covered, he can throw the ball to him and know he's going to make a play, right? They have that trust, and it helps that he's one of the if not the actual best route runner in the NFL, and he's going to be in his spot. And Allen has been zinging the ball to him, getting it right to him where he can catch it. These two definitely have a chemistry going, and Diggs changes the whole offense, right? He opens up the whole offense. Beasley's been open more. Brown's been open more. We've seen Gabriel Davis get involved, right? It's amazing to watch, and he's everything as advertised and so much more for this Buffalo Bills team. Yeah. I mean, I remember when we traded for him, and I freaked out. I screamed, and I scared my wife and my grandmother because I was just so overly excited that the Bills just made this huge trade, and I knew it was going to change this offense.
It did drop late at night, so you probably woke up the neighbors too. But Stefon Diggs, more than half his receiving yards so far this season in the fourth quarter, with 209 of his receiving yards in the fourth quarter. So that tells you when they need him, they go to him, right? I mean, it's just so huge. Like we talked about all offseason, like what this offense could look like with Stefon Diggs. You kind of have to – you can't really double Diggs because there's so many other weapons, right? So you have to go man-to-man, and he's just eating people up. And you're seeing
third downs, right? He's a third down machine. If it's 3rd and 5, Diggs, you know it's going to Diggs. Like he's going to get open, or he's going to get him the ball. He's going to make a play. And that's amazing to see, because we've never really had such a reliable third down guy. Like, okay, doesn't even matter. Say hike and throw it to Diggs, right, on third down, and you know it's going to happen.
Yeah, this receiving core is really good. It's the best one the Bills have had in a long time. We should look up how long has it been since the Bills have had this good of a receiving room? That's a good question.
And one thing to note that we're seeing a trend with Josh Allen and new receivers. I mean, you had John Brown had his best statistical year last year, and also Cole Beasley had his best statistical year last year. Someone mentioned in the chat that Diggs is on pace for 1,600 yards. Now, I don't think he'll get that much, but Diggs will be he's on pace for his best statistical season thus far. So I think that says something about Josh Allen, and Jeremiah Barkley makes a good point. He says Josh and Diggs are both dogs. They work harder than anyone else at their positions, and nobody wants it more than them. It's no surprise they're instantly connected on and off the field, and that matters. Chemistry matters. I mean, when you look at the offseason, we all know COVID and so forth, how they didn't have OTAs and none of that stuff. You know, the fact that Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs looks like they've been playing for years. I mean, and they've only played together for 4 games. You know, Eric, you mentioned Call of Duty. We saw videos of those guys in Florida this summer, grinding and working hard, man. It's a testament to show that Josh Allen is probably one of the hardest working quarterbacks in this league. I mean, and that's that farm mentality, Eric, that you always talk about. Man. I mean, that guy, he really does.
Hay.
He puts in work. I mean, year 1 to year 2 to year 3, you see big improvements every single year. And so that hard work is paying off, and it looks like those two are dialed in. And not to mention Brian Dable.
I mean, mention that.
Brian Dable has been amazing. I hope to God that he stays with the Bills after this season. So, if you're in any other NFL teams out there watching, don't offer him any jobs. He hates other cities. He really just likes Buffalo in the cold. So really, don't even bother.
So we did say at the beginning, we did talk at the beginning of the show, there's very little we can complain about at this point. The Bills are 4-0. They've been clicking on every cylinder. But, if we are going to be just a tiny
Here we go. Anthony's going to find something.
Just a tiny
here we go.
I knew it was coming.
Mr. Suit.
There was a few too many cute plays when I didn't think we needed them, right? It's like, come on, just the offense is clicking. Stop doing double reverses and all that. Like, just let the offense do what it does, right? It's going well. No need to drop back and run 15 yards backwards to go 5 yards forward. So, it just keep it going. Okay, I get it. You do a trick play here or there, and it does change up the pace, but just keep the offense rolling in the right direction, and let's not try and get too complicated.
Hey, let's hear it, Juliet. Hey, that's right, man. They're killing you tonight, Anthony. They're killing you.
We still gotta be critical, right? We still gotta see.
For sure.
There's places to improve, and I thought that was one of them. Our receivers have been on fire, but they did drop 2 passes in this game too. So we can't overlook that either. It's not all on Josh Allen's shoulders.
No,
but I mean.
I think it's a balance, personally. I mean, Josh had -1 rushing yards in this game. I'll take a few reverses to protect the quarterback more, and I think those reverses definitely help. Freezes the defense. It was very effective at freezing the defense on the Raiders, and I just think that's part of our persona.
It is.
McKenzie's he's a baller on those plays.
Yeah, jet motion is a staple in this offense, whether you're handing off to McKenzie or not. I mean, just the confusion that it brings, and McKenzie can fly. He is he's a fast receiver. Yes. He's best for the niche that they've carved out for him, and I think it works. I love the fact that Josh Allen isn't running the ball as much as he was, and he's doing it from the pocket. So just think about this. When Josh Allen decides he wants to run the ball, that's going to be a problem for defenses, because the last 2 games, he hasn't run the ball at all. So when he wants to run the ball, he will be able to. And notice how the defenses are playing now. They're only rushing 4. They're putting everybody else back into coverage, and he's still eating them up through the air. So, I mean, they're going to be giving up a lot of yards. It'll be interesting to see this coming game with Tennessee Titans coming up, how they use Jadeveon Clowney, if they're going to use him as a spy. They do have a couple decent linebackers. Athletic linebacker. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play him. But I think this coming week, you should see Josh Allen use his legs a little bit more. Well, maybe not trying to run people over, but to get first downs.
The best thing about these last 2 games that he hasn't run as much was because the running lanes just weren't there, right? He's actually choosing to do the right thing, which is sit in the pocket, wait for somebody to get open, look at the field. If it's open, go ahead and run, right? But he just hasn't had that in these last couple games, and he's decided to not, run, which is the right decision to make, rather than to just scramble and run and then get tackled 2 yards in.
I don't think
so. You avoid the hit and you make the right play.
With the way this offense is being ran right now, Josh Allen doesn't need to run the ball. He's too good at passing right now. The receiving core is too good. They're too wide open. 14 first downs through the air in this game, only 5 rushing. So it's a different persona this season. I think they're a top passing team in the league right now. You don't need to run the football.
I think it's part of what makes Josh Allen who he is, though. Running the football is part of his thing. But the fact that you mentioned he is having success just throwing the ball, I think once he adds that, defenses are already cognizant of, okay, this guy is one of the best athletes in the league at quarterback. He could take off at any time. So I think that kind of helps. It helps clear his lanes, and especially when you have Stefon Diggs running crazy routes like he is, Cole Beasley, Davis, Brown. I mean, these guys they're all kind of doing their part to make this offense click and make this offense what it is right now. and somebody brought up Devin Singletary. Y'all know I love my guy Devin Singletary.
Got to get him the ball more.
Yeah, Devin Singletary had 15 catches? 15 runs or 18 runs last game. I mean, he didn't look great in terms of yardage, but his impact on the game was felt. He did
much more than that. Receiving too, and I saw I forget who it was who tweeted it out, but the stat that Singletary is leading the league with 22 forced missed tackles. So I mean, he's making plays, and I always say that about Singletary, right? Yards after contact, he's a king of that, and he is continuing to make plays. I do think we need to get him the ball more in terms of running situations, and at least let him have a chance to do his thing. At some point, you're going to need to rely more on the run game, and they certainly haven't done that yet, but they haven't needed to do that yet either, which I think is a good position to be in.
I'm gonna tell you where they need to use Singletary more. It's in the screen game. That's where he's best utilized, is in the screen game. They need to focus on. I think Dable needs to kind of try to. Have you guys noticed that Devin Singletary is one of those rhythm and touch kind of running backs where the more he touches it, the better he gets throughout the game. He needs that constant rhythm. I don't know if platooning him and Zach Moss kind of splitting carries, I don't know if that's going to hurt him. Because he, when we saw Zach Moss in the game, they kind of had equal amount of carries, or like 9 carries. I think Singletary is one of those guys that you're going to need to get him involved more. So if you're not handing him the ball, maybe let's see some stuff where you have both running backs in the game, or using a screen game to utilize getting Devin Singletary in space, because that's where he's most dangerous. So our screen game definitely needs to improve for sure, Taylor, as you mentioned. But I do like the improvement of the offensive line. I thought Cody Ford had his best game of the season yesterday. He played a really good game. I mean, we're not hearing anything about Deion Dawkins because he's just being a stud at left tackle, and that's great. Darrell Williams had a bonehead penalty, but it is what it is. But that right guard position, I'm still not a fan of Brian Winters. You got Spain coming in there. I think Brian Winters got hurt. They threw Spain in there, and it's like, okay, that is the weakness. Hopefully, when Feliciano comes back, hopefully that's shored up. But the line's playing great. Mitch Morse is doing an amazing job. So this line is balling. So I'm loving it. Yeah,
they're playing really well for sure. But I think that the 10 personnel is actually helping them a lot too, because the defense has to spread out and cover these receivers, and I think that's helping out the offensive line. So it's good play design.
It is, and more kudos goes to Brian Dable. Brian Dable's calling a hell of a game, man. Feliciano will be back. I don't know when he'll be back. I would assume, I think it was like 6 weeks is probably what they were thinking from the start of the season, because I think the injury was a 8 to 12 week injury. So he should kind of be back during the second half of the season. I would say around week 8, week 9, the bye week. I think we'll see Feliciano kind of get back into the swing of things. But as we move on, folks, next topic, hello defense. Now, we know that we've been getting eaten up on defense. Okay, the Bills, we're still not where we need to be. But we did mention on last week's show, we said, this is one of those games where the defense can kind of, if anything, they should be able to, they'll be tested against the run. And we saw that Jacobs only had, what was his stat line? 15 carries for 48 yards. So they stopped Brandon Jacobs. They stopped him. Not Brandon Jacobs, but they stopped Josh Jacobs. They stopped him. And I thought he was going to have a big game. I thought he was at least going to have 80 to 100 yards rushing, but he didn't come close to that. And so that's a great sign that the defense is getting better. Coverage, we still lack on coverage at cornerback 2 and nickel. I think those are our weakest points. And a lot of times our run fits they got better this past weekend, but they're still inconsistent at the defensive tackle position in terms of run defense. What are you guys' thoughts on the defense?
It's really funny because in this game, we talk a lot about Josh Allen hero ball, right? We've heard that term before, where he tries to do too much, or we have to rely on him to make the magic play in order to win, right? A lot of that was our last couple seasons. But to me, the defense in this game was playing hero ball. That's what they did. That's how they won this game. They were saying, okay, we're going to let them do whatever they want, run all over us, pass all over us, first downs galore. Come on, do whatever you want. And then just wait for the big play to happen, right? The fumbles, the forced fumbles, the sacks in key situations. I think there's maybe 3 plays you could say on that defense that decided that game, that won that game for the Bills on defense, at least. And if they had not made those 3 plays, we might be talking differently today, because I mean, it looked like they couldn't stop anything. Anything the Raiders did was being successful, and they were just driving down the field, and luckily they got the stops when they needed them. Josh Norman probably, he got beat a couple of times on passes, but then when we needed that big play, he was able to punch that ball out.
Can I tap myself on the shoulder real quick? Because I told you guys, I said Josh Norman, I said he may not offer a ton in pass coverage, but what you're going to get is an active tackler in the running game, and he has a knack for knocking the ball loose. We knew that coming in. Josh Norman is a hammer when it comes to run defense. He's not afraid to stick his neck in there and lay a lick on the ball carrier. I think, Levi Wallace is better in coverage, obviously. He's shown that he's better in coverage right now. But Levi Wallace is not great in run defense. And I think having Josh Norman in there, once he got in the game, and it sucks that Levi Wallace got taken out early due to ankle injury or something like that. We don't know the severity of that. He's going to be out for a while. But the fact that when Josh Norman comes in there, he gives them that fire. And they need that fire. The offense has it with Josh Allen, Stefon Diggs, those dogs. But Josh Norman is a dog. I think it elevated the play of the defensive line. You had Quentin Jefferson record his first strip sack fumble. You had
that was the key play to the game in my mind. That was the play of the game. That strip sack. He did it all himself. He bolted through the offensive lineman. He blocked it. He fell on it. I mean, it was beautiful. But again, that's like a hero ball mentality. If you had kept that pressure up on Carr, maybe we would have done better throughout the whole game. But still, when it counted, they got it done. And that's what mattered.
Yeah, and the defensive line rallied around. I mean, the first half was kind of the same story, but that second half, man, they really kicked it into gear that second half, and I was proud to see that. And there was a sack fumble where Derek Carr just kind of tossed the ball, and I'm like, yo, that's a fumble.
It's an incomplete pass. Come on.
Yeah, I thought that was BS. So that's another sack fumble that the Bills had, and your boy, what's his name? Johnson, dude, he came in and had a sack, man.
Big
that
sack,
defense. I mean, I know
he only played a handful of plays, but he had an impact on the game.
Yep,
just in those handful of plays. So I mean, he's got a high upside that Johnson does.
Absolutely, he does have high upside. I want to see it continue to get better. I don't want to see a team score 23 points. I want to hold them in the teens. That would be fantastic. Anthony, you are smiling up there.
Who didn't have a good game? I was waiting to say this.
Go ahead.
Didn't have a good game? Anybody want to guess who on that defensive line did not have a good game to the point where the broadcasters called him out for it?
Trent Murphy.
Garbage game. And again, I said I'm going to be fair to him during the season. I wanted him to be cut for salary cap reasons. I felt like he was a replacement level player at this point. He hasn't done anything to prove that. He had a great game week 1 versus the Jets, and he's done nothing since then. And in this game, again, it's not my own observations. Even the announcers for the game were saying, wow, Trent Murphy got blasted, or Trent Murphy was just ghosted there. And I'm like, come on, what is going on with this guy? And we've seen his snaps be reduced for that, right? One of my favorite plays,
about the same.
One of my other favorite plays on defense was when they had Addison lined up as kind of a linebacker, and he made the tackle late in the fourth quarter on the receiver when he caught the ball. That was pretty funny to see.
Dropping back.
Addison's rushed the quarterback guy.
Hey, you remember
coverage, and then he got the 2 yards catch, and then he just got blasted by Mario Addison. That's tough.
Speaking of Marios, y'all remember when Mario Williams was on the Bills, and he was bitching about having to play in coverage because Rex Ryan would put him in.
Yeah. Oh my God. But that's you just playing the guy wrong.
Hey, right? that was it. Just got me thinking about that. Shit was funny. Jeremiah Barkley says, not enough consistent pass rush.
Right.
Quarterbacks are too comfortable. I like Norman's attitude and fire. We need more of that. I like to see more aggressive play from Tremaine and White. We need our leaders to be more intense. For sure. I kind of agree with that. Let me tell you what I don't agree with. They are getting enough pass rush. They're one of the better ranked teams when it comes to pressure on the quarterback. The problem that you're seeing is quarterbacks are getting the ball out a lot fast. I mean, let's see. We played Sam Darnold week 1. He got the ball out quick. Who was our week 2 opponent? The Dolphins. Ryan Fitzpatrick gets rid of the ball really fast. Week 3 was who? Who was week 3?
The Rams.
The Rams. Jared Goff is one. He's top 3 in terms of getting out the ball quick, and then Derek Carr is one of those guys as well that gets rid of the ball quick. So I think once you get once you see quarterbacks that kind of like to hold on to the ball more, I'm interested to see how it plays out against the Patriots.
You say Tannehill? That's our next quarterback.
Tannehill gets the ball. He's kind of in the middle. He gets the ball out quick, but he likes to hold on to the ball, wait for a big play, and I don't think he's going to have time to do that.
Right. They have a deep passing game. It takes a little longer to develop, but we'll see. That's what they were last season. I'm not really sure what they got going on this season. It seems like more of the same. But it's going to be fun to watch.
After him, we have Mahomes, right? And Mahomes has looked could get to him. I mean, we've seen it a couple times already.
So I'll agree with Anthony on this one that Murphy probably didn't have his best game.
Hold on. Look at that on the bottom. He's been total pressure by Murphy. Is tied second.
He's contributing, right? With only playing half the snaps.
I bet PFF would vote him as the MVP. So let's just
they probably would. But like I said, the defensive line is getting consistent pressure. They're just not finishing because quarterbacks are getting the ball out too quick. And what are you going to do, man? I mean, I think you're seeing breakdowns in coverage more than anything. The pressure's there. I think it's the breakdowns in coverage that need to be shored up. And to our guy said, Tremaine Edmonds does need to play better. I think he's injured. And if you guys haven't checked out Eric Turner, he did his little thing on the Bills defense. Y'all need to check it out, man, because Eric is always dropping bombs. I mean,
Tremaine Edmonds' video was an awesome breakdown of what he's done this season.
Fantastic breakdown,
the good and the bad, and it was great.
It gives you a glimpse into hope. Okay, we know Tremaine can get back to last year. Tremaine Edmonds, I think he's just injured right now. It's limiting him to be physical. At times, Tremaine does look lost, but like I said, if you guys want to check out that by Eric Turner of Cover One, our guy, you will be astonished, and it kind of gives you a glimpse into what you can expect from these Bills linebackers moving forward throughout the season, because it's gonna be huge. These linebackers are gonna be a big part of this defense getting to where it needs to be, or where we've seen it from last year. I see people in the comments are mentioning Tyrell Dodson. Tyrell Dodson's better in coverage, but he has a lot to be desired when it comes to the run game.
And now with the Milano injury, we might be seeing a lot more of him, which does concern me, because we've seen historically, if Milano's not in the game, the defense struggles, period, no matter who else is out there. So now we are going to have to, for the foreseeable couple of weeks anyway, have to deal with not having Milano and having somebody fill in.
Right. The timing is not great. The timing on that is not great. We got Tennessee, who's undefeated, Kansas City's undefeated, and New England in the next 4 games. The Jets are in there too, but those are 3 tough games that the Bills have coming up, and Matt Milano is a key part to that defense. I mean, it's going to be killer.
Absolutely.
They've got to find a way to just fill in it. Maybe Dotson is the answer there. I don't think it's AJ Klein. We've seen what happens when he's out there, so I don't want to see a lot more of him, because we know they're going to target him. They're just going to throw the ball to whoever he's covering every time. So I mean, that's definitely a big blow to the defense. And the other part that I mentioned this earlier, but the reads, that in terms of, okay, this is a run play, okay, adjust, okay, this is a pass play, adjust. That's where it seems like, Tremaine Edmonds and maybe some of the other defenders are getting fooled, and where those big plays happen. Because if you miss your read and you go one way and somebody gets open, they're going to find that guy, obviously. So hopefully we can improve on that as the season moves forward.
Absolutely. And before we even continue, man, I saw this is pretty damn cool. Roy Yamasaki says, "What's up from Brazil? Let's go, Buffalo." Hey, that's cool. Hey, Roy, thank you for tuning in and watching our show from Brazil. That's pretty dope, man. We got Bills fans that tune in this show all over the world. We had somebody from Australia last week tuning in. I just think it's awesome that Cover One, that their reach and our show together. It's been really, really cool, man. So keep tuning in, and I would love to come check out Brazil one day. That would be dope. Ron Beck brings up an interesting question. He says we should trade for a solid linebacker if possible. I don't think the Bills are gonna do that. I think the Bills currently have, I think, $4 or $5 million in cap space, or $2 to $5 million. I'm not sure on the exact numbers of that in cap space currently. Well, in 2021. So I think if they need to focus on paying Matt Milano. Somebody mentioned Spain earlier. I think he's probably going to get cut. There's going to be some big cuts especially from the defensive line this coming next year. So Matt Milano is priority, and it shows even now because we're talking about the linebackers, how the linebackers do need help. I wish that the Bills could swing a trade with the Texans for Zach Cunningham. That would be phenomenal, but it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I don't even know if Madden is gonna let you pull that trade off. So, but hey.
And that's not the type of thing that Bean and McDermott have done, really, is rely on a trade to fill a hole. They truly believe in the next man up mentality, and they truly believe in the guys they have on this defense. Even though we're sitting here saying when Milano went down the last game, it got pretty ugly. They still believe in, and they know their players, and they believe in them, which can be to their detriment. Because I do think that this is a time where you should consider trading and seeing if somebody could come and fill in. Because like Eric said, there's some tough games, some really meaningful games coming up for us. And we can rely on the offense. That's great. But the defense has to do their part at some point.
Yeah, it's always interesting because now the Bills are in contention to be the best team in the AFC. So if you do have a hole, like, if Milano's out for an extended period of time, do you give up draft capital to bring somebody in and try to make a run? The NFL is so uncertain. I mean, the team's really good right now. I think you have to roll with it. I mean, we don't know if Dable will be here next year. We don't know a lot of things for next year. I think you got to live in the now, right? And this team is really good right now.
Yeah,
so
they traded for Benjamin.
Yeah, that was that. That was a mistake. So they didn't like that, and they never did that again, right? So
if I were to make a trade, I'm not trading for a linebacker. I mean, I think the Bills need help in the secondary. A nickel corner is I'm telling you, man, nickel corner is struggling bad. Taron Johnson is not playing well. They need help. I don't think they're going to make a trade. But
I think it would. I was really hoping that once Norman came back, that Norman, Wallace, and Trey White would be the combination out there in some way, shape, or form. Whether that means keeping Levi on the outside and putting Norman in the middle, nickel corner, that's great. I mean, do what you got to do. But I was looking forward to that combination of those three guys on the field because Taron Johnson has been struggling. But now they're in a situation where that just isn't going to happen. And Johnson's got to step up because
I'm not putting Josh Norman in a slot. He will get roasted. Just think Cole Beasley. Players like Cole Beasley line up in a slot. They will eat Norman alive.
He's got some mileage on him.
Keep him on the boundary. Yeah. Keep Norman on the boundary.
Put Levi there, and I think that would be a good combination.
Levi Wallace is limited. Levi Wallace is limited physically, and he doesn't offer you much of run support either. Taron Johnson at least gives you something to run support. It's the pass coverage. I mean, you need your nickel corner. I mean, that's why teams are investing so much more in nickel corner. That's why you see the Ravens have 3 corners that are interchangeable. And the Bills need a number 2 corner. Right. The Dolphins is another team. They need 3. You need 3 corners to make it happen. And so that's going to be the Bills' weakness moving forward. Here we go. Neither Norman or Wallace are slot guys. Who can defend short area guys with two-way goes?
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal.
Like I said, we don't have that. We don't have that.
I'm certainly not saying this is ideal in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying they could have changed it up and tried something differently. I mean, it's definitely not ideal in any way, shape, or form. But
if they would have
happen. You could have tried it.
If they would have put Norman in a slot against Hunter Renfrow, Lord have mercy. You
got to help him out, right? You got to draw up some scheme. Okay, the linebacker's going to be over there with him too, or something.
Hey. Did you see Klein trying to defend slow old ass?
Well, we already said that's Klein's problem. Right?
Oh my God! And Tremaine Edmonds was looking lost. He was like, I'm like, where is he looking? What is he waiting for? A Dunkin' Donut? Bro. They gotta shore that defense up, man. If we're gonna talk about the Bills being a Super Bowl contender, Super Bowl teams, they got that. Those are the kind of little small details. I know it's early in the season, but these are the small details that the defense they're gonna have to improve on if they want to go where they think that we see the potential of them going. Those are the little things that are gonna slip them up.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So next, fellas, next up, here we go. What's the take? Now, this is the part where it's driven by you guys, the fans. We want to know, ask us any questions, Bills related, football related, or whatever, even if it's unrelated to sports at all. By all means, ask us the question. And this is what's the take? So, looking in the chat, we got Scott Eisenheimer up in here. He says, "What's up, guys? What up, Scott? Thank you for watching the show."
Somebody bring up Tyler Bass.
You know what? Hey,
Anthony's been waiting all week to get at this.
No, Eric, you go ahead and bring up Tyler Bass because I'm good with that. Go ahead, because you hate the rookies.
I know, but I can't. There's nothing for me to hate right now.
Why not? He missed the extra point.
He missed one extra point. Okay,
right. So
that's fine.
I tweeted this out.
He's made 15 of 16.
Yes,
extra points. Right. He's missed 2 field goals, both from 30 to 39. Kind of what was expected from Tyler Bass, right? You're going to be a little shifty in the intermediate field goals. Hopefully he can nail some long ones when he gets the opportunity. But that's the thing. The offense is so good, you don't need a kicker. Anthony was right on this one. He gets the credit.
In the preseason,
we don't need a kicker.
If you're on your kicker, then you're in a bad situation to begin with. Now, not saying that extra
one of the
point
kicks is a bad hold.
Yeah, I mean, that missed extra point was a bad miss because it put them within scoring range of 7 points rather than 8. And that's a big deal in that situation. But again, he's only missed 1 field goal. We know that because the first one was made and it just was a bad call. So he missed 1. And what happened on that one? The laces were in. Okay. Everybody who doesn't even watch Ventura. Exactly. You know that. Okay. He's a kicker. He should make it. Yes. But even this extra point, what happened? The laces again were in. This is not a kicker problem. This is a holder problem. And guess who the holder is? Bojorquez. And guess who was the worst player for the Bills on the field on Sunday? Corey Bojorquez. Are you kidding me? You had 2 punting situations. You have 1 job. You can't kick the damn ball out of bounds near the 10-yard line? Even if it's at the 15, 20 something.
Matt Barkley can hold the ball.
Instead, you punt it into the end zone. Are you kidding me? And
one more point on Bass, though. Hold on. He hasn't kicked a single field goal from behind. The team has been ahead every single field goal.
And again,
we still don't know what Bass is. We're not going to know until the crucial situation arises, and he's going to be a 0 or a hero.
Exactly.
That's why I don't like rookie kickers, because there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't like it.
But you haven't had to talk about him because he's made everything else, right? And that's
now, correct.
Okay. All right. So Bojorquez, look, every time he misses, every time Bass misses a field goal, it is wide right. Okay. And I just have just horrible cringe moments of wide right in Bills history. I don't want to see that shit. Okay. It freaks me out. Just get it together.
Again,
we need a punter. We need to draft a punter next year. And we're going to move on from these guys.
We need to find something because Bojo's inconsistencies. I mean, again, we talked about the punting, his actual punting. You can't kick the ball out of bounds. Are you kidding me? You kicked it into the end zone twice?
Hang on. Teams averaging 31 points a game. They're 4-0, and Anthony's mad about the punter.
The punter, yes, as we should be.
You need to be humble, man.
It's not Anthony. It's the suit talking right now. The suit's pissed.
Come on.
Okay,
this is legitimate. This is a legitimate argument because you can't. There are going to be games where the punter has to give you good field position. Pin them down inside the 5. Right. Pin them down inside the 10.
Here we go.
But you can't. We
got some questions in here. Here's a good one. It says, "Do we ever see Hodgins this season? Do you think?" I don't know. I think Hodgins, once he's eligible, I think he goes on the practice squad. I think it's one of those things where the Bills are playing so well. The wide receivers are playing really well. And who are you going to sit down? Because you would have to put him on the active roster. I think he goes probably on the protected list on the on the practice squad. So we probably won't see him this year, but I would love to see what he looks like in the red zone. Hell, you know what I would do with Isaiah Hodgins? I would put him at move tight end. Darren Waller was an X wide receiver. They moved him to tight end. Look at Darren Waller. He's unguardable, right? Maybe Isaiah Hodgins has a future at tight end. The Bills need tight end help. Dawson Knox ain't cutting it. And I'm sad to say it. That's my guy. But Dawson Knox just – why is Tyler Kroft beating you out, dog? Tyler Kroft is trash.
He's been injured.
I don't care what nobody says out there. You can't convince me otherwise. Tyler Kroft is trash, bro.
Yeah,
I'm sick of it.
I think Hodgins would have a chance, but this team's too good. This receiving room is too good. Gabe Davis is playing extremely well, and they love to use McKenzie. I just don't think there's a role for Hodgins this year.
Well, one of my other takes, I do think we could see him in a Week 17 meaningless game against the Miami Dolphins. They might call him up and let him play in a game that Jake Fromm starts. So we'll see if that game is meaningless. I could see them, making our star receivers inactive and calling somebody like Hodgins up just to get some game action and let him play in his first game.
Any word on Allen's shoulder? We haven't heard word yet, but I mean, it's a great fact that he came back in the game. I think it was just a stinger that he got on that shoulder. I think we'll hear more later.
McDermott's quote at the press conference was, "He's doing just fine," or something along those lines. Like he didn't even say what it was, if it was a bruise or they thought he dislocated it or whatever. He just said, "Yeah, he's doing just fine." I don't know what that means.
What a scary moment, though, right?
Yes,
that would happen, right? Like the Bills go 4-0.
Oh yeah,
average 31 points a game, stud quarterback, and then he does a crazy play and breaks his arm. Terrifying.
Can the Bills take 2 from New England this year?
Absolutely.
Don't
ask Eric. Don't even allow Eric to talk on this question.
Have your moment, Anthony.
Yes.
Go for it.
The answer is yes, period. End of story. There is no argument otherwise. Not even that they can. They should and they need to. You absolutely are the better team. There's no question about that this year. We are definitely the better team. On both sides of the ball. Okay? And I know Belichick is the better coach and he's the best coach ever. Great. But he can't get on the field and play. And we just saw that versus Kansas City because I think Belichick did everything he could against Kansas City to try and win that game. But he couldn't go out there and play. And in the end, that's all that mattered, right? So again, I don't think Belichick can be the difference. And I know that we are better than that team. So not only can we beat them twice, we need to beat them twice.
Yeah, I think the Bills definitely can beat them, right? And this is maybe the first season where I think it's a level playing field, but it's not going to be an easy task, and it's definitely not a give me, right? That defense is still extremely well coached. They're extremely disciplined, and they held Kansas City to 6 points.
On offense.
That's with a backup quarterback. If Belichick didn't make a couple boneheaded decisions there, I think the Patriots win. So it is no easy task at all.
I think here's where the Patriots are going to have issues is that the Bills' run defense is better. It's better. I think we're ranked 8th in the league or something like that right now. And Cam Newton is not the best when it comes to reading defenses swiftly. He likes to hold on to the ball. And I think if you hold on to the ball of this defense, you're going to have problems. They're going to get to you. I think it'll be a long day. Now, Belichick, like you mentioned on defense, I know he likes to take the thing that you do best out of the equation. What is the thing that the Bills do best on offense?
Right now it's the passing attack.
I mean, they're so versatile. They're so versatile. You can't take away the whole passing game. Now, I think it would be a lot better facing New England if one of the tight ends would step up and be dominant or just average. We don't even have average play at tight end. I know everybody says, well, your boy caught 2 touchdown catches and one was dude, I could catch that, honestly. I mean, seriously, I'm just sorry, dude. Tyler Kroft ain't it, bro. He's just not it. Dawson Knox is just swing and a miss because Dawson Knox ain't cutting it. So the Bills need tight end help. And I think
Dawson Knox just hasn't had as much opportunity because we've got other guys.
Why hasn't he had opportunities? Because
he was injured, obviously, for the game that Kroft had.
One game. He dropped the pass in the back. I was like, dude, come on, bro. Like,
he's not even on the field half the
concentration drops.
Exactly.
I'm tired
That's
of
what I'm
saying.
saying.
Bills are running a ton of 10 personnel.
Because we have so many great
Knox
receivers.
isn't on the field.
Knox isn't getting the opportunities to shine. And maybe that's going to be the case. He doesn't need to be the guy who's making the big plays. But
Dawson
when
Knox,
he does get the ball, we want to see him be what we know he can be.
So Dawson Knox is only on the field 29 times. That's 48% of the snaps.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
So I think the 10 personnel is really putting Dawson Knox out of a job, right?
Certainly.
Hey, here we go. Here's a good question. Could you see the Bills trading their first-round pick down to the Dolphins or Jags for their 2 second-round picks? No, both teams have 2 second-round picks.
The way too early draft prediction, huh?
I don't see it happen. I know the Bills aren't trading that to the Dolphins. You don't give in your division. I just don't see it happening. I think Brandon Beane's motto is take the best player available, and I think you're gonna have some studs coming up in this draft. So even if the Bills are picking late 20s, early 30s, there's going to be good players to be had. So I don't see them trading back.
We just talked about the needs, right? Cornerback, linebacker. We're gonna offensive lineman. I mean, they're gonna get somebody. They're gonna get their guy in that position.
Hey, Brian, I gotta hate on him. Hey, until you show me otherwise, I'm sorry, but I gotta dish it out, baby. Look, Lone Wolf said Croft had 4 catches for 24 yards in that game, 2 touchdowns, but not a real threat. I mean,
he's a tight end too.
It's a product of a great play call.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even want to get into it with the whole tight ends, but I ain't feeling it. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Croft does what he's supposed to do as a tight end too, right?
Yeah.
He's not asked to do a ton, and I think he comes through when he's asked to do it. He had a couple drops, but what are you going to do?
Oh, hell. This is funny. Do you think a trade for J.J. Watt fixes our problems on D? Hell to the mother effing no. Matthew Hagerman, first of all, thank you for watching the show. But J.J. Watt, get the hell out of here with J.J. Watt. Listen, I'm so tired of J.J. Watt because the media just they just kind of
ESPN.
Oh my God. Did you know he had 2 brothers in the NFL? It's like, get the F out of town, bro. I'm sick
look at that awesome
J.J.
play.
Watt, bro.
I know the Texans are on that play. But did you see J.J. Watt in there? Man,
yes, I know.
Oh, man.
J.J. Watt's eating a sandwich on the sideline, and he still gets credit for the play.
Look at that guy drink that water. I mean, just one gulp. It's so efficient, it's so powerful when he
I think
J.J.
Watt could come in and take over the quarterback position and take this team to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Hey, J.J. Watt. I think he could play fullback. He could play quarterback.
He could coach
Screw
the damn
Stefon Diggs. I mean, put J.J. Watt a wide receiver. I mean, he could do it all. So I'm so tired of J.J. Watt, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Nope. Sick and tired of hearing that dude.
Well,
let's see. Oh, look, Gilliam. Gilliam could have done
guy.
that.
I was going to say
Gilliam could have done that, but why isn't he playing tight end regularly? I mean, because obviously they feel like the coach staff feels like they got 2 tight ends that are better than Reggie Gilliam right now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, there's probably some nuances to the game. Reggie Gilliam is still learning, and that's okay. But if I'm the Bills, I'm drafting a tight end. A cornerback and tight end are my 2 biggest needs on this team in the early rounds. There's a kid out of Florida that's just, you talk about
Kyle Pitts.
You could probably get a tight end a little later on.
Pitts, dude. And there's some stud corners coming out. So those are the places that I want to see. And we'll talk about the draft as we move along. But those are 2 places I would love to. I want to give Josh Allen as many weapons as possible. A Kyle Pitts in this offense. Lord have mercy. Y'all think it's good now. You put a top flight tight end in there, and it's dude.
Yeah, as long as he comes out of Iowa, I'm all for it.
There you go.
Hey,
best tight end program they got.
J.J. Watt at wide receiver only if E.J. Manuel's at quarterback. Absolutely. I think that's the best pairing in the NFL right there. Absolutely.
Are you trying to put together like a Monday Night Football crew?
Yeah.
There you go. An announcing team right there.
And go ahead and call up Bill Romanowski too. We need to put him at linebacker right now. He'd probably be better than what we got right now. Can we get a trade for Aaron Donald? Shit, I'll take that. But they ain't giving up Aaron Donald. That contract is a fat one. So we can't afford that right now.
He's probably the best defensive player in the league.
I think I saw somebody in the chat talking about the refs earlier, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it in this game because it didn't factor in the actual outcome of the game yet again, thank God. But there were a couple egregious calls by the refs in this game. The first one I thought of was a John Brown touchdown that they somehow inexplicably, I feel like we talk about this week after week. It's like, come on, NFL, you can't get this right? The whole point of reviewing a play is so that you see it and you get it right. And Brown clearly crossed the line, clearly had possession, and they come out and say, nope, he was short of the line of play, didn't have possession. It's like, are you kidding me? None of that made any sense.
Yeah, I thought we fixed those rules.
Everybody with eyes saw that.
I thought they fixed the questionable catch rule, but there it is again.
It's just
that was a catch all the way through, in my opinion. I don't know.
Ridiculous call. We brought up the strip sack earlier. The one that there was no whistle, but then when the whistle happened, they're like, oh, he was in the wraps and they blew it dead. It's like, no, there's no crowd noise here. We can hear the whistles. There was no whistle, and they just said, oh well, it's not a fumble. Too bad, right? And that was that. And the other call that was controversial was the pass interference when the Raiders were driving. The pass interference call against who was it, Hyde or Poyer? And that one looked like maybe it shouldn't have been called. I don't think it should have been called. It was controversial, but it ended up allowing them to get 30 extra yards on a scoring drive. So
for sure,
a drive that they eventually scored. So again, I'm just sick of the refs not getting it right with the replay. To me, that's like, what the hell, NFL? The whole point of reviewing a play is to get it right, and they still swing and miss every single time they have to review it.
Hey man, the refs have been this way for years, and it is what it is. I just want our team to not have to worry about the outcome of a ref's call.
Luckily,
I mean, seriously. Here's a good one. Should we sign Prince Amukamara? Yes, and hell yes. I really, he would be a good addition to the backfield right now.
Be a good depth player.
Absolutely, especially with your boy out. I mean, he was on crutches, man. I mean, Levi Wallace on crutches is not a good sign. You know,
he's gonna be out a few weeks.
I don't know how long. You know, I haven't heard. I don't know if you guys have heard how long he's going to be out for. He's week to week. So, you know, you're looking at least 2 to 4 weeks, at least, you know, when they say week to week. Because, let's see what else we got in here. Let's see. More people talking about the calls. NFL has an intent to blow the whistle rule. Stupid, but it's there. It's true. It's true. Like I said, I don't want our team having to worry about what the refs are doing. We need to be destroying.
Luckily, we've come out on the right end of those. You know, the game has ended the way it should without those calls influencing the outcome of the game, which is huge, which is what we need to keep doing.
Says our wide receivers are kicking ass, but how much does our running game and tight end need to improve to keep winning? I think the more balance that you can get on your offense, I think it's the better. I love to see Josh Allen sling it, but yeah, we definitely need more balance to the offense. I think, you know, the wide receivers blocking in the run game has been stellar. They've been doing a really good job there. A big improvement from last year, even. And I mentioned tight end play. I think our tight end play needs to be a threat. They need to be, you know, when a Bills tight end is out there, whether it's Croft or Knox, defenses need to account for that. And right now, I don't think they care enough to be like.
I don't think the tight ends are being asked to do a lot, so it's hard to evaluate. You know, if I'm sure we'll see them at some point. I'm sure Dawson Knox will have a big game at some point this season. But what the offense is doing right now is just so good. There's no need to do that. Plus, Zach Moss is out, so I think they're maybe limiting the run plays.
I think Singletary still needs to be the back who's getting the majority of the touches, without a doubt, and certainly get Moss his. But you know, that rotation didn't seem to be working the way they wanted it to when they were going equal, at least in the one game that they were getting equal touches. But the one thing that frustrates me is when you're using the run, right? We already talked about how much this team is relying on the pass and succeeding at that, which is great. But then in the fourth quarter, when you have a lead, we got conservative McDermott back, right? What do we do with a lead when we're the dominant team throwing the ball and we've had success throwing the ball and whatever? Oh, we hand the ball off right up the middle where the guy gets stuck, and give it to him again where the guy gets stuck, and then it's 3rd and 9 and we give it to him again and the guy gets stuck. Are you telling me you couldn't draw up a pass play on 3rd and 9 because of what? 20 seconds of clock time? Using their timeout? Like, come on, you get the first down, the game is over, you win. And instead you say, no, we'll just run it up the gut and let them use their timeout, give them the ball back. And on a drive, they ended up driving down and scoring, by the way. So it's just like, I hate that. Again, they preached it in the offseason. We want to score more points. We've seen it in the first few games. They're relying on the pass. The pass is succeeding. We don't need to run as much. But then in a situation where everybody knows you're running it up the middle, you hand it off 3 times instead of at least drawing up a screenplay, something, an easy, high percentage play for a pass game. Instead, you run it right up the gut and make them use the timeout. I absolutely hate that. And that goes against everything that they say. Try to win the game. Don't play conservatively. Same thing with like prevent defense, right? Win the game. Don't do that shit.
Well, the Bills still need to come out in third quarters and play better on offense. I mean, we're still lacking. Yes. Now, the first half is great. I mean, we're taking shots and being aggressive. I think it needs to continue on in third and fourth quarters. I mean, well, fourth quarters are great, but third quarters, I mean, this is something that's been plaguing the Bills since last year. They kind of need to get their wits about them.
I want to know what McDermott's halftime routine is for the team. I don't know if anybody's asked him that before. But I certainly haven't heard anything about it. I don't know. Does he let them just rest? And does he give them a pep talk? Whatever it is, they need to do the exact opposite. So if they're in there sitting on their ass, if I'm McDermott, I'm like, you guys are running laps in this. You're running laps for 15 minutes, and you're getting your asses back out there. Because whatever you're doing, it's ain't not.
I think you're running Call of Duty,
execution. Man. It's execution. And the third quarter, how many drops did the wide receivers have? Diggs had one. Brown had one. But it's
consistently coming back in the third quarter, which is after halftime. So whatever they're doing at halftime isn't working. So they got to change it up somehow. Whatever the routine is, change it up. Do something different because you got to come out strong, come out ready to go. No more of this coming out cold and third quarter being the quarter of destruction for the Bills.
Naveed Quadir says he gives them volume at halftime. Shit, he might. They play that's it.
General NFL.
Drops and Knox had one. Yeah, dude. Knox. Hey, somebody said, well, the tight ends are getting involved once you pass the ball. Well, look, dude, you got to catch the ball when it's thrown to you, and Knox still has an issue with that. So, but anyway, man. Look, I'm still disappointed in the fans. I want more likes. We need more likes on this show. So we're gonna let it slide this week. Okay. We expect more likes coming next week. When our guys go up this week from cover one, Anthony and Quinn and Greg Thompson on their shows, show them some love, man. Hit subscribe, cover one. The Hoof Podcast. Hoof that like, man. We thrive on likes. We thrive on interaction. You guys are definitely interacting with us tonight, and we appreciate it. We'll kind of see how everything progresses for the rest of the week in terms of injuries, in terms of this COVID thing with Tennessee Titans. So you guys are gonna have to stay tuned, stay locked. Cover one, we really do try to get you guys.
Don't forget about our Friday recorded podcast.
Oh yes, the Friday recorded podcast.
We'll know a lot more about the game by then.
We'll definitely know a lot more, which drops on Friday on most social media platforms. Apple Mute, all that. Y'all know where to look for us. But we had great numbers last week from that, so we appreciate you guys supporting us and continue to come back and watch the Hoof Podcast live, because I'm just telling you, man, it's the best Tuesday show out there when it comes to Bills content. Sorry, not sorry, but we good like that. It's okay to pat yourself on the back, But we do all this because of the fans. We do it because of you guys. Taylor DeGeorge, thank you again, for watching the show and saying that we're killing it. We do appreciate all the love that you guys give. None of this is possible without you guys. So we're going to say deuces.
Oh, and one programming note, because the game is on Thursday next week, the Kansas City game will be on a Thursday. Our show is going to be on Monday rather than Tuesday. So we're shifting up all of the cover one shows. Our show will be Monday next week.
Yes. That Kansas City game is going to be huge. I don't even want to talk about it right now because this is
getting nervous.
We're going to be hyped.
Going to get nervous.
Wait until then.
Yeah. Hey, it's like this first game. I want that 5-0 versus 5-0 game, so we got to win this week.
Yeah, no, dude, it's going to be nuts. Oh, let me answer this question real quick before we go. Reed Craig says, anywhere to rewatch games without cable? NFL Game Pass. I mean, unless you want to be a shady shyster and try to get something for the freezy, but that's probably where you're going to have to go, man. That's probably where you're going to have to go. But anyway, we out of here, folks. Thank you again. This is the Hoof Live, and we will see you on Monday next week. Peace.
Go Bills.
Deuces.